in the DevOps world, there are some really popular and commonly used tools. Now, Puppet is one of those tools. Most people have heard of Puppet. It's a configuration management system. And what that means is there's a Puppet master, which is a server that holds all the configuration information for the different agents or Puppet agents or the different servers that check into it. And most people think that the best thing you can do with Puppet is automation of your entire infrastructure or your entire system. And I have a friend named Kyle Rankin, and you may have heard of him. He's written a bunch of Linux books out there, but Kyle Rankin uses Puppet religiously, and he has this really cool system where there's an ESXi instance, and it spins up different virtual machines, and based on the MAC address of those machines that can be custom created, the MAC address, based on those MAC addresses anyway, they boot up to a bootp server using DHCP. They initialize a kickstart installation of Ubuntu, and then based on whatever this MAC address is, it actually checks into the Puppet server and determines what type of server is spun up. So he just makes a quick change to whatever MAC address he wants these servers to be. It installs it, checks into Puppet, and Puppet says, okay, you're going to be a web server, you're going to be a database server. And everything, the entire process is automated. All he does is create a new instance of this, and it does all the network installation all on its own. However, this is a terrible, terrible way to start using Puppet, because it's a lot like if you wanted to do a project with your child, and it's a great thing to do a project with your child, and you said, you know what, child, let's do something like a golf cart, or not a golf cart, but like a go-kart, and you can ride inside of it, and you can put your arms up and you can be happy and smiling, and this is a go-kart that we made together. But instead you say, you know what, I think that if we're going to do a project, it should be something awesome, and we should really go all out. So we are going to create a space shuttle, right? We're going to make a space shuttle, and that's what we're going to build in the garage, and then we're going to fly to the International Space Station. Well, that is obviously way beyond what your first project in the garage should be. In fact, there's probably laws against flying to the International Space Station on a homemade space shuttle. So I don't recommend doing that. But if you try to automate everything at once, that's the kind of problem you're going to run into. It's so complicated that you're going to get frustrated. The best thing you can do is actually start out simple. You have a Puppet master. We're going to do this. We're going to install a Puppet master. It's a server, and then you create by hand a definition for the servers, like what you want it to be. I want this server to have this installed and an Apache server installed, or I want this server to have a MySQL server installed and updated. And then you go over to these servers, you install these servers by hand, or you use an existing server, could be bare metal, could be a virtual machine, and you install the Puppet agent and let Puppet manage the software and configuration files on these physical servers. Don't start by automating every process for spinning up servers and stuff, because you're just going to get overwhelmed really quickly. The best thing you can do with Puppet, especially at first, is provide consistency in your data center or in your server room. And Puppet can do that very, very easy. So how does Puppet work? Pretty easy. The Puppet master is here. It has a list of what all of your servers are supposed to do, and then your server has an agent that runs. Now, this agent can be a daemon that runs constantly and checks in every so often, or you can actually use like a cron job and put an instance in the cron tab that will execute every so often, and start agent, which checks into the Puppet master and it looks for any changes. Say you said, you know what, I want to now install a different version of MySQL. So you make a change. The next time server 2 checks in, it says, oh, I don't even have the right version of MySQL. Let me automatically change that. And then you're consistent with what is defined here. And of course, you can have like 15 servers that all use this same set of commands. All the same class of server installs can be kept consistent across multiple different servers. And that's truly the benefit and the awesome thing that you can do with Puppet, especially at the beginning. So if you're thinking, I need to automate everything that has to do with my server room, not at first. Don't do that. First of all, start using Puppet to get some consistency in your existing servers. And then if you want to start automating one process at a time and eliminating your need to do things manually, great. But don't try to do everything at once, because you're going to end up with a half-built space shuttle and no way to fly it to the space or to the International Space Station. Puppet is a very, very powerful tool. It's an awesome system, and we're going to go through in this course and figure out how to do it, but we're going to start not with how to automate everything. We're going to start with how to keep all of our things consistent, make sure they're up to date, make sure that we have a secure and consistent environment throughout our entire system, and Puppet is a perfect tool to make that happen. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.